all know that hitting the treadmill once in a while is beneficial for human health, but research now indicates that it could be good practice for racehorses as well.
I think the first thing is that you don't have anybody on their back, so the horse is free, it doesn't have anybody pulling it around, and also you're working on a true surface. It's a flat surface, it's always the same whenever you work on it, it never changes. So I think those are relatively two of the major assets to having a treadmill.
A lot of our fillies, you get the light little fillies that do too much on the track when they go. We work them alternate days on the treadmill. Say Monday, Wednesday, Friday the treadmill, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday they go to the track. They do their pace work there. The cantering they do on the treadmill. That helps a lot. The light fillies, they fill out nicely.
Scientists from the University of California, Davis in the US, who collaborated with researchers from the Japanese Racing Association, determined that treadmill training helped build horses' aerobic capacity significantly more than those trained on the track. In fact, high-intensity treadmill runs increased their demand for metabolic power by 32%. But the best news was that none of the treadmill-trained horses in the study developed any sign of lameness.
The new veterinary sort of scientific evidence proves that concussion improves bone density. And, definitely we've seen an improvement with these horses that have had lameness problems on the treadmill, because the concussion is good. And it definitely seems to sound them up. And we managed to keep some of the unsound horses a lot sounder on the treadmill. The other thing that I think is amazing, which there's no scientific evidence, but horses don't bleed on a treadmill. For what reason, we have no idea. You can ask Mike DeCocky, he's worked a lot more horses than I have on a treadmill. He says he's only ever had one that's bled. We've never had one. And those horses are working on a treadmill with no treatment, no medication, no nothing. And bleeders don't bleed on a treadmill. So when you're prepping a bleeder going into a race, it's a huge advantage that it doesn't bleed going into a race. And I think that plus the bone density, and there are other things as well, but I think those are the biggest things that really help a hell of a lot. Treadmills are relatively new in South Africa because they were always imported, and obviously there's an expense of importing them. And a guy called Mike Chellan, who's got an engineering business in Jacobs, he was an owner, he had quite a few horses with Colin Scott, and he saw them and he thought he could manufacture them. The one we've got is actually the prototype. It's the first one he ever made. And yeah, we had a few little teething problems, but Mike was always on hand to come up and fix him. And I think we're 6 or 7 years down the line and it's still working perfectly. So I think a big benefit of having something locally made is that somebody can come and fix it when it needs fixing, or come and help us when we need help. Because you buy the imported ones, unfortunately people are a long way away. So it's great, and Mike's very, very good at looking after them.
He really kicks away from them to win 7 from 36.
Well, we've had numerous success stories off the treadmill. Obviously different problems have suited the treadmill. Also like Joshua's Crown, who started his career off as a bad bleeder. He has now won 7, including a Group 3, and he works on the treadmill going into a race and he doesn't bleed anymore. So it's huge, and he's an 8-year-old. We might even retire him this year, but he's had a fantastic career. And it's due to the treadmill. But we've had lots and lots of stories. Some are, might win one race with a filly going off to stud that you wouldn't have won. Difficult horses. We've got a filly called Syringa, beautifully bred filly. Amazing dam line, and she's really hot and temperamental. She's quiet on the treadmill, so you can do your basic work on the treadmill. And she's won 2 races, and I'm hoping to win 2 more with her before she goes off to stud. And it makes a difference for the guy that's going to breed with her. She goes to stud as maybe a 4-time winner instead of a 1-time winner. So all those things are huge, and each one as an individual is important. And I think we've had a lot of horses here that wouldn't have won what they've won without the treadmill.
Well, there have been many. Michelle, I think the best one's probably Siren Score. She had a fetlock operation after the Daily News. She came back from a farm. We just started on the treadmill, and she ran the other day in Cape Town, ran a very good race. She ran 4th in a very powerful field, and all systems go. I think the treadmill is very, very important in a training yard. You know, it's very scientific. Sean's a firm believer in it. Instead of taking them to the track and working on uneven tracks, sometimes heavy tracks, grooms on their backs, it's better to start them off on the treadmill.
Look, I think it's an aid to training. It's not a magic fix. You can't take a bad horse, put it on the treadmill and think you're going to have a superstar. But you know, there are a lot of things that it does help with on horses, and it's a very nice piece of equipment to have in a stable yard, and I must say we get a lot of benefit from it.
If the premise is to give a horse the maximum amount of work during exercise with the minimum amount of stress, then high-speed treadmills are valuable pieces of sporting equipment in the sport of thoroughbred racing.